So, how many of you drive? Yeah, pretty much everybody. So I'm going to start with a little story. My grandpa used to drive a lot. He used to drive everywhere for work. But as he got older, his driving skills started to deteriorate a lot. And he started to show symptoms of dementia, and then he was involved in 2 hit and runs, and that's when we as his family were like, all right, you really need to stop driving, and took his driver's license away because he was a danger to other people and to himself. My major claim is requiring citizens to retake driver's tests periodically would significantly decrease traffic accidents. For 3 reasons. Many drivers develop unsafe driving habits, many drivers' skills deteriorate as they age, and driver's tests can catch incorrect driving patterns. First off, many drivers develop unsafe driving habits. For example, I have a friend who I never drive with because he always forgets to use his turn signal. And he is not alone in that. Apparently 48% of drivers don't use their turn signals according to the Society of Automotive Engineers. The Society of Automotive Engineers says not using turn signals is dangerous because they are one of the very few active ongoing means of driver-to-driver communication. Meaning, if you're going to be turning left, you need to tell everybody you're turning left so that they can, be prepared for that and not crash into you. And that is, crashing into people is very, very common. According to the U.S. Census, since 1990, there have been over 10 million auto accidents every year. And of those 10 million accidents, 36,000 people have died, 36,000 people died in 2009 as a result of motor vehicle accidents. And that is standard for the past few decades. So it is very apparent that people develop unsafe driving habits such as running through stop signs, not using their turn signals, and driving too fast, or driving distracted. Secondly, many drivers' skills deteriorate as they age. Like in the example of my grandpa, lots of people, as they turn 65 and they enter old age, they develop Alzheimer's or they develop other forms of dementia. In fact, 1 in 9 people over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's, which totals up to around 5 million people in the country. Symptoms of Alzheimer's, if you don't know, include difficulty understanding spoken or written language, recognizing objects, making sound judgments, and carrying out complex tasks. All of these are really important to driving. If you can't read written language and understand it, you don't know what signs say, and you don't know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing based off signs. If you can't recognize objects or make sound judgments, you can't tell if there's a car in front of you or if that's a child or what's going on. And if you can't carry out complex tasks like stopping for a car or a child or something, that makes it incredibly difficult to not hit somebody. Driver's tests can catch these incorrect driving patterns. In regards to age-related degradation, several states have introduced a graded license where drivers over the age of 55, they have to start retaking driver's tests periodically. And for people over 55, it's every 4 years, and for those over 75, it's every 2 years. And in between tests can be given in the case of family or doctors who are saying this person is unsafe to drive. And depending on the results, they can either have their license taken away or they can be given limited licenses. So they can, for example, drive to church or the store or something, but they can't, go through school zones or something dangerous of that nature. Driving tests can also catch incorrect habits in other people. And for example, the New York State DMV can require an evaluation of a driver whose skills and abilities are in doubt. So for example, if somebody just got pulled over for running a stop sign and it turns out this person ran 3 stop signs in the last 2 years and got pulled over for it, they can be required to retake a drive test, and depending on those results, they can either keep their license or have it revoked. And Yeah, so to summarize, my major claim is requiring citizens to retake driver's tests periodically with significantly decreased traffic incidents. Because many drivers develop unsafe driving habits, their skills deteriorate as they age, and driver's tests can correct these driving patterns. Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. I knew there was another one in there somewhere. All right. I appreciate all that, but after 2, it's just patronizing. You ever have one of those people, sneeze 15 times in a row and you're saying, "Gesundheit, Gesundheit, bless you, bless you, bless you." That's just ridiculous. Wait until they're finished, give them 1, and then they're on their own. All right. Ben, lots of things that are good in the speech. Let's start with those things. The proposition's very clearly identified. The contents are previewed very effectively. You do a good job speaking to the audience, and I think that helps build a lot of credibility for your presentation. So those would be the things that I think you're spot on for that part. You also explain concepts pretty well in the argument, so I thought that worked pretty well also. Your signposting in the structure of the speech is not quite as clear as it was in the preview. In fact, you kind of dove right into the second and the third points as we're listening without any transition material, so that felt a little bit abrupt, and so it's not quite as smooth as you want it to be. And you want us to remember what it is that we're looking for. You're talking about identification of signs, for instance. We know something's coming up, then we're watching for it. That's what we need. Even if you're not old, you need those kinds of things. So I think that you've got the right idea here. That just needs a little bit of practice. I thought you started off really well with some good data on people with Alzheimer's, the number of accidents, diseases of aging. There are a whole variety of those other things that I think you could add in there too that are not just dependent on Alzheimer's. But let's face it, people's vision changes, their hearing decreases and is less accurate. Those become problems. Maybe they have other sensory issues that come along with age as well. So I think that you could probably build that argument a little bit more and not just rely on the Alzheimer's as your main engine for that particular issue. Let's see. The place where I had a little bit of difficulty was on the third point when you're talking about the laws that do this are effective at screening people. In other words, if we did this kind of testing, it would be effective. You mentioned that some states require people over 55 to retest every 4 years, and over 75 they have to do it every 2 years. And I wanted to know, okay, well, where'd that data come from? Which states are these? I needed some information there. I'm not saying that what you said is not true. I'm just saying I have not heard that before, so I need to have the proof on those kinds of things. Graduated licenses, for instance, I have heard of before, but they usually work the other direction. I hadn't heard that they work in this direction as well. That sounds like it's pretty effective. Now, the other thing that you did have there that I had heard of before was like the New York State DMV. If somebody has had violations in the past, they can require testing of some kind of skill based on their inability to recognize, see something, or this seems to be a recurring problem. If you had 2 of the same kinds of violations, for instance, that would be a reason to maybe do a retest, and that they could require that. Here's the part that I'm looking for. Where's the information that says that people don't pass those tests and that as a result that there's any impact? If we've got states that are doing this, then we should see a decline in accidents among people over the age of 55 or over the age of 75 or whatever it happens to be, and I didn't hear any data like that. So I think you've got a good structure. The argument is clearly explained. The proof on the first point is strong, but I think there are other things that you could add to it. And then the second and the third points need a little bit more proof on them as well. All right, thank you.